Francis rocks the system. You can see him come to patch up the holes now. And they're always pushing policies that work out right for ruling class goals now. And if panic comes to Wall Street, you can hear them stress the need for controls now. But they'll be gone, gone, gone when the people take their power away. We're working out of Washington, they're drawing up a federal plan now. Then it's off to Santa Monica to spend some time consulting for Rand now. Where they tried to dream up ways to hide the rising cost of bombing Vietnam now. But they'll be gone, gone, gone when the people take their power away. Cause they spend their time just shooting the bull now. They give a speech on hunger, but they do it while their bellies are full now. And they say it's getting better, but it looks like they're just pulling the wool now. And they'll be gone, gone, gone when the workers take their power away. And they'll be gone, gone, gone when the workers take their power away.
I set out to ask a question. Why do we protest? Obviously, protest is effective if you look at the numerous examples, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, the women's suffrage movement. But what is it in human beings that makes them, when they see injustice, take a sign, write down something witty, and stand around in the cold for 4 hours? And why does this resonate with people? And so I went out and I asked. What personally makes you want to protest?
It's the idea that I can actually matter. Right now as a youth especially, I can't technically vote and stuff, and so it feels sometimes like what I believe in doesn't actually matter. With protests, anyone can be involved from all ages, all backgrounds and everything. We can actually express what we believe in and hopefully get the goal that we want.
And is that what you believe makes protests so effective?
Yeah, I think the idea is that anyone can do it, anyone can protest, and they can do it at any time, and it doesn't matter how few people you have or anything like that. It's this right that we have to express our beliefs, and it makes it really effective.
So, can you show me your sign real quick? Why do you believe that about protest?
Why do I believe that this is what democracy looks like? Because sometimes that's the only way that minorities can be heard. When the majorities seem to get the place at the table, either in Congress or in the presidency. My other part of the sign, this was from Barack Obama's campaigns early on, Fired Up, Ready to Go. He tells a story of a woman who, in a small room in one of the southern states, was saying, fired up, ready to go, fired up, ready to go. And then the Barack Obama campaign used that throughout their campaign when things looked dim. And when he found out, what he ended up saying is, one voice can change a room. One room can change a city, one city can change a state, one state can change a nation, and one nation can change a world. And the other thing that kind of, I'm an old gay rights activist, and I'm from back in the time in the 90s when we were the only ones out there talking, but we always had this feeling that, if every oppressed group could all get together and we could all speak our truth and voice our concerns, and we all did it together as one voice, even though we came from very different perspectives, then we could make a bigger difference. And so I think that's what I'm starting to feel with this, with these young people coming out, that they are, they're all feeling something like that they want to be heard. But there's other groups that are joining in. There's an immigrant group. There are Muslim Americans. There's religious issues that are potentially being oppressed at this time in our country. So I feel like a lot of people are feeling kind of what we did back in the 90s. And the gay rights movement is just a perfect example of how you can really make a change if you just stick with it. And it all started out with just a little protest like this. And you know, we have our marriage rights now. We have our we're just part of the fabric of the country, just like anybody else now.
Can you explain to me what the importance of peaceful protest is to you, and yeah, that's it, sorry.
Okay. Well, as a representative of the government, you know, we're part of the executive branch when you look at your 3 branches of the government. So for law enforcement, it's important for us, we don't get involved in the actual political aspects of anyone's protest. We ride a neutral fence. We're not for or against any organization or group when we're in this uniform. Our goal is to make sure, no matter what type of protest it is, especially when it is the peaceful protest, that those people's voices are heard, that their rights are afforded to them under the Constitution, under the First Amendment. So we make sure that no one violates those rights. No other group comes in and tries to take their message away or get that peaceful demonstration to turn violent or anything, because once that happens, the message is lost. I mean, we've seen it time and time again, especially over the last 2 years. People try to start out with a peaceful protest to get their message across. And then we've seen what's happened in Baltimore, we've seen what's happened in Ferguson, Charlotte, North Carolina, and it becomes rioting. And the whole message is lost, and it's all about the rioting. So that's the main role that we as the government and law enforcement play in these type of protests.
Okay, and what do you think makes people want to protest? I mean, besides just like whatever they're protesting for, but like what do you... In general? Yeah, just in general.
Well, I mean, it's what we were founded on as a country. If you go all the way back to the Boston Tea Party, you know, we protested the British, taxation and everything else. I mean, this country was founded on peaceful protest, and a revolution did occur for that. The civil rights is another classic example of peaceful protest. We're trying to get that message across now. Certain cities that did go bad, but it caused change. And protesting the government, or when a large amount of the country sees something wrong or wants a change, there's nothing wrong with a peaceful demonstration. It gets that message out, you know, to the government and to the ones that change the laws. We've seen that successfully. You know, the biggest one, you know, is the civil rights movement back in the 60s.
Well, protesting is a useful form of organizing in multiple different ways. You know, the first of which is reaching individual people. For instance, what we're doing here today primarily is trying to reach individuals, families that are attending, to tell them, you know, this is why, you know, they're cruel to the animals. You know, you don't want to give those people your money. Hopefully they'll go out of business eventually. You know, it's outdated, cruel. You know, the animals are abused and confined and mistreated, and it's really awful. So for protests like this, that's, you know, the reason why it's the best medium is, you know, personal outreach. There's also, you know, pressure campaigns, things that more focus on targeting the corporations specifically and not trying to reach individual people. So there's multiple types of protest.
Yeah, obviously there is multiple, but for you, what is, I mean, I don't mean to put this in a rude way, but sometimes the 3 of y'all don't make the biggest difference you could doing this. What is personally satisfying about protesting to you? Like, what does it make you feel?
Well, with protesting, again, with, you know, protests like this at circuses and things like that, we have families come up to us all the time saying, we were going to go, but, you know, we had no idea what was happening. Now we know better and we're going to do better. And that happens every time.
We've had families join us.
So it's the spread of information in the community.
So every person we reach, if they reach someone else, I mean, that's the way, I mean, now Ringlings has banned elephants from circuses. It's not because they did it for, you know, for their good heart.
The social climate change from doing things like this.
So if you change people's mind, yeah, exactly.
It's reaching minds and souls to me.
So even if you have a really unsuccessful protest and people yell at you or something like that, how do you leave feeling? Do you leave feeling better than if you'd done nothing?
Sure. I mean, we try, we do the very best that we can, and, of course, sometimes, things are less successful than other times, but that's, just how life works. That's going to happen sometimes, but in the end, I do end up feeling like we did make a difference, the majority of the time.
And it's a matter of commitment. So you
Exactly.
do what you believe in, you fight for what you believe in, and it seems to me that that's the American way. We're going to make America great again. That's how we're going to do it.
Protests are different than other forms of change. They're loud and they're messy and normally full of passion. But that's what makes them interesting. And that's what makes them compelling. People join protests for many reasons, whether they want to educate people about their cause, or whether they want to make a difference in their small world or community. Or sometimes people just join because they need to have a voice and it's the only medium that they're given. But no matter what, they're exercising a right. And they're making a difference a lot of the time. And protest is a positive, interesting part of our society that will always be there because it's in the nature of America.
Revolution, well, we all want to change the world. You tell me that it's evolution, well, we all want to change the world. But when you talk about destruction, don't you know that you can count me out? Don't you know it's gonna be alright? Alright. Alright. You say you got a real solution. Well, we'd all love to see the plan. You ask me for a contribution. Well, we all doing what we can. But if you want money for people with minds that hate, all I can tell you is, brother, you have to wait. You know it's gonna be alright. Alright.